Welcome to the 7th episode of Boulder Community Health's Be Well Saturdays. I'm Gina Simmering, your host, and in celebration of the holiday season, we've brought back our inaugural Be Well team. Thanks to your viewership, we will be back in 2021. So today, you will learn tips for combating seasonal affective disorder, hear how to build strength with squats, discover some nourishing winter soup recipes, and get creative with some simple winter hacks that will keep you moving outdoors comfortably this winter. And be sure to stay with us until the end for your opportunity to win some delicious and refreshing ELDORADO spring water. So let's get started.
Good morning, everybody. I'm Nelson Trujillo, and I'm an interventional cardiologist here in Boulder, Colorado at Boulder Community Health. And I'm so grateful to be with you this morning for Be Well Saturday. Welcome to all those people new to our program, and welcome back to all those who are part of our community. It's so great to be with you during this holiday season, even with all the challenges we're facing. I'm so excited today to be here with Gina and Kate and the gang to talk a little bit about seasonal affective disorder. And you might ask, why is a cardiologist, an interventional cardiologist, here to talk about seasonal affective disorder? And there are two big reasons for me. The first is seasonal affective disorder symptoms, and we're going to talk more about them here in a minute, often overlap with cardiovascular disease symptoms. And so I get an opportunity to sit with people when they're not feeling well. And one of the things that we sometimes find out is that the heart is strong, but sadness has crept in, and we get to address this very common problem. The second reason is that I myself oftentimes get the winter blues, and it's such a common problem that a lot of us will experience it during our lifetime, and it's important to identify it and work towards making things better. So seasonal affective disorder, or SAD, the winter blues, often comes on in the fall and gets worse as the winter wears on, so we're right in that peak time. This year, especially with all that's going on, these symptoms may be quite a bit worse. What are those symptoms? Well, I think the big one is fatigue. We get more and more tired, can't get off the couch. We might experience anxiety that's really crippling and keeps us from enjoying our lives. We can start to get food cravings and wanting to eat more and gain weight. Can lead to sleep disorders where we're not sleeping properly, more sleep during the day and less at night. We can feel palpitations, our heart beating stronger. This often brings you to my attention as a cardiologist. This problem is really common. And once we start feeling these things, it's important to reach out. It can be really easy to feel that these symptoms are just depression, but they can represent underlying organic diseases like heart disease. So reaching out and getting help from your primary care providers is really important. More than likely, they might run some tests to make sure that these symptoms that you're feeling don't represent something else like anemia or thyroid problems or heart disease. Once we know that this is seasonal affective disorder, it's important to start working on treatments to make us better. And today, I want to focus on those that we can do at home, even with the pandemic. So what do we want to do? First of all, light therapy is really critical in seasonal affective disorder. As those winter nights get longer, our pineal gland shuts down, and it can lead to some of these symptoms that we're experiencing. So light therapy is really important, and it comes in two forms. One is bright light therapy, where we expose ourselves either to a lot of light for a short period of time or less light for longer periods of time, and dawn simulation, where we get our sleep cycle back on track and we wake up to nice shiny light in the morning. Another big thing is to get outside. We live here in Boulder, and it's awesome that we can get outside every day. and enjoy the bright sunlight. The intensity of our Colorado sun is quite bright, and so it's a really effective treatment for seasonal affective disorder. Getting our sleep cycle back on track is also really important. And it's interesting, one of the things that can make this worse is blue light, especially at night. And that's the light we get from our devices. So it's important to take a little holiday from our phones and our computers, especially before we go to sleep at night. Have good sleep hygiene where we go to sleep at a certain time. And there are devices that can help us wake up in the morning to beautiful sunlight or bright light simulated as an alarm clock. And if we get up at the same time every morning, that can really help as well. Fighting isolation is also really important, and that can be quite challenging. Loneliness is a big contributor to seasonal affective disorder. It's also a contributor to heart disease. And so reaching out either by Zoom or phone to our friends and family can be really important. And if you know somebody who might be suffering from seasonal affective disorder, it'd be great for you to reach out to them because that can help a lot too. Good nutrition is really important also as it relates to seasonal affective disorder. These are all really good tips. So I encourage you, if you're not getting off the couch and having trouble, reach out and let us give you a hand. Happy holidays, and can't wait to see what Kate has in store for us of getting us moving on this beautiful Saturday.
Kate Houlik, Doering Fitness and Mind Body Program Coordinator for the City of Boulder Parks and Rec Department. And I'm here to share with you 3 tips to strengthen your squat. We're gonna learn 3 things. Why squatting? Because squatting is a movement that we perform every day, every time you sit down and stand up from a chair, go to the bathroom, get up and down off the floor to play with your baby. Whatever it is, we're squatting every day, and it's probably the most popular exercise in fitness classes. So I want to make sure that you're doing it safely and effectively. Okay, tip number 1, just start at the foundation, keep your heels in contact with the floor throughout the entire movement. So as you squat down, heels stay on the floor. We don't want them to come up, keep them down. This is going to protect your knees. Okay, tip number 2, all right? Knees, wherever your foot placement is. So if you're squatting with your feet forward, or if you're squatting with your toes slightly externally rotated, both are fine, personal preference. You want your knees to track in line with your toes. So don't let your knees cave in, press them out, engage your glute medius. This is gonna help stabilize the hips, okay? Knees track out, so keep the knees pressed out. Tip number 3, you wanna keep your spine in a neutral and straight position when you squat down. So as you're coming down, we don't want to look up at the ceiling, arch our back, and we don't want to round our spine and look at the floor. Nice, straight, neutral spine. This protects your back and keeps your core engaged. So what, Kate, you ask, should be my range of motion on a squat? Well, your range of motion is totally up to you as long as you can keep the integrity of those 2 things and move pain-free. So heels on the ground, knees pressed out, back in a nice straight position. And then you can squat all day long, okay? Those are our 3 tips. Range of motion, stay healthy, stay safe, and happy sweating.
Hello out there. I'm Diane Strassberg. I'm the nutritional health coach at the Boulder Natural Grocers. And today I'd like to share with you 4 simple steps for making healthy, tasty winter soups. Before I get started, I just want to say thank you to Boulder Community Health and Hospital for sponsoring these Be Well Saturday programs. I think it's a great way for us to connect when we can't do so in person as much. So when I make a soup, I like to start out with vegetables, washed, chopped, and then I saute them in one of my favorite cooking oils, say coconut oil, olive oil sometimes, and also butter is a really good stable fat that doesn't burn while you saute in it. The vegetables I like to start out with are onions, celery, and carrots. Those 3 together have names in different languages. It's called a mirepoix in French, And then the Italians like to call it a sofrito. So that's onions, celery, and carrot. And then I like to add 1 to 3 more vegetables after that. So I usually like to choose a leafy green to get some nutrients from that. And then when I'm shopping, when I'm choosing another one, I like to take a step back and have a better vantage point of the produce department. That way I can choose what's looking the best that day or something I haven't had in a while. And besides that, I also like to recommend and use frozen vegetables. Frozen vegetables are advantageous for several reasons. First of all, you don't have to wash or chop, which reduces prep time significantly. And frozen vegetables are often picked during the peaks of their season, and so their nutrient density is pretty high. Whereas when produce is shipped from its growing point to a grocery store, it can often be several days before it gets to you, and the nutrient density goes down each day. If you are using fresh vegetables, I recommend washing and chopping them before you even turn on the stove. This is called, and getting organized before you start cooking is called a mise en place. And that's French, but I like to think of it as having your mess in place. Later on, your mess will be out of place and you have to clean it up. But this getting organized before you start cooking is really helpful to make sure you remember all the ingredients if you're using a recipe. And if you're creating as you go, it leaves room for your taste buds and imagination to get creative. And getting everything organized beforehand also allows you time to clean up as you're cooking. That way you have less mess out of place when you're done with your meal. The next step of making a simple, tasty soup is adding a nutrient-dense, flavor-dense broth. Homemade is always a great option. However, pre-made is also really good, especially now that most companies, or many companies, use organic vegetables and pasture-based animals as their ingredients rather than lesser quality. The next step would be adding a protein. Now, some recipes do call for cooking your protein along with everything else. However, otherwise I recommend, especially if the protein is a nice cut of meat or a piece of fish or a nice marinated, sprouted organic tofu, I recommend sauteing or roasting it separately in order to concentrate flavor and also add some texture into your soup. This is especially good for leftovers because the protein doesn't get washed out with the broth while it's sitting in your fridge. Lastly, for making delicious, simple winter soups comes tasty and nutritious toppings. Some toppings that I like to include in my soups are rice, also kelp noodles, which is a different option than grain noodles. You can also choose nutritious, organic, fresh or dried herbs, which adds a nice color dynamic, but then also are nutritious as well. And I like to add seeds like pumpkin, sesame, or hemp. And this allows, especially if I'm making a bisque, because they sit on top real nice. And then one that everybody loves is adding a little cheese on top. You could use dairy or non-dairy. It depends on you or your guests. And so now hopefully you are all thinking about your next homemade pot of soup. Please come see us at the Natural Grocers for all of your fantastic soup ingredients. And if you're interested in taking advantage of the free virtual nutritional coaching, health coaching sessions I provide for customers, please give me a call, come say hi, or you can also book online. Thank you, and I hope your next soup is great.
Hi, my name is David Ford, and I serve as the Recreation Coordinator for Open Space and Mountain Parks with the City of Boulder. And surrounding our great city, we have 45,000 acres and 150 miles of trails to get outside and explore. So when we're thinking about something different to do in these winter months, I really hope that we can encourage you to get outside for at least 30 minutes a day. Get outside, enjoy that sunshine, and really explore nature. A lot of our animal friends, like our black bear, avert squirrel, even our long-tailed weasel, they all have different ways that they adapt for these winter months. The long-tailed weasel, it's brown in the summer and it's white in the wintertime. Pretty cool for camouflage, but also these white hairs are hollow. So they actually provide more insulation for the animal. So what we can do, since these animals get to be outside all the time, we need to put our animal in the outdoors, in the habitat that it belongs to, kind of reap these health benefits, connect to nature. So what we have to do, being really not having as much hair and insulation, we need to have all types of different adaptations to help keep ourselves safe and comfortable in the outdoors. So that involves different types of jackets and insulation. Some of them are waterproof, water resistant, and you can go to your local outdoor store, your favorite local shop. They can help you with all these different layering systems. Today, I really want to talk about some of my favorite outdoor hacks that keep me outside and comfortable and combat social isolation and loneliness that can really happen in the wintertime. One of my absolute favorites you'll see in some jackets is if every zipper you put a little pull tab. It can be a piece of rope, you can use a zip tie, but it really helps if your fingers are super cold. It really gives you something to grip when you pull your jacket up. I also always carry 2 pairs of gloves. Some are lighter weight than others. That helps if I get really sweaty in one. I have an extra set. Same with 2 pairs of hats. I only really use hand warmers. I keep them in my backpack, but I only have them as an emergency. I try to keep my layers and everything going pretty well. One of the most important adaptations that we can have for the winter time is going to be some sort of traction. You'll see some of them will have a nice spike on them. Some of them are flat, and some of them we get to kind of have more icy uphills, some for shoveling snow. But your local outdoor shops can really help you with that. Not slipping and falling is cheaper than a medical bill. So always make sure that you're helping to protect yourself. I also really like to have a water bottle. Sometimes I'll have that water bottle upside down in my backpack so it doesn't freeze, so I can always take a drink. And then when I get back to the car, I have a thermos of hot tea waiting for me to enjoy something really nice and warm. If it's snowing, I always keep my map inside of a nice gallon-sized plastic bag. Same thing with my cell phones, anything important. I keep that cell phone by my chest pocket on the inside of my jacket, so it keeps that battery nice and warm, so it doesn't die on me when I'm in the outdoors. Visit us at naturehikes.org. We're going to be going over a lot of different winter hacks, keeping yourself outside, safe with other people this whole winter. Naturehikes.org. We're here from you. Come visit us, come talk to us. We're really excited to see you. So take care. I hope everybody stays and is well this winter.
Thank you for tuning in to today's episode. We have more in store in 2021, so be sure to look for our emails or follow us on social media. And now for the opportunity to win some ELDORADO spring water. Be the first person to send me an email with the correct answer to this question, and you're the winner. So here goes. What are the 2 types of light treatment for seasonal affective disorder? Send me your answer. And until next time, everyone, stay healthy, be well, and continue wearing your mask. It not only protects other people, it also protects you.